I know. You've been wondering, what is a one-on-one session with me, Sora Schilling, really like? Well, I have Jaci, Marlous, Jean, and Katherine here to give you an inside look at the Devoted Way and their experiences with one-on-one coaching with me. So let's dive in, shall we? Welcome to the Devoted Way podcast, all about magic and miracles from me, Sora Schilling. It's time to hone in on your intuition, become masterful at energy work, and live life based on your design, your unique blueprint encoded with stardust from the ethereal realm and from those that have come before you. You know what to do and how to be, so trust in yourself. This podcast series is part of a 13-day challenge called Stellar Transformational Act of Reverence, otherwise known as STAR, hosted inside of our Devoted Discord. In each episode, I will randomly announce a keyword that you can use to earn points and win amazing prizes during the challenge. Stay tuned until the end of the episode for more information. Ooh, I'm so excited about today's conversation. Okay, so for me, I know that part of my place of devotion and my practice is how do I stay present and honor my community members and my clients who I adore. Every single time I notice on my calendar I have another one-on-one session, I'm like, yes, yay. And yet also I have come to understand that I love having a sacred container. So having a group of people that are navigating a space together inside of a coven while having that individual connection and deepening of a meaningful relationship. And so that's like the only way to have one-on-one experiences with me. And so because of that, I'm sure many people are interested in wondering what in the world happens behind the scenes inside of a one-on-one energy coaching session with Sora, because it's pretty hush hush. Unless you're actually having it, there's no way that you're going to really understand what that looks like and feels like. And so I wonder if any of you, we have Jean and Jaci and Katherine and Marlous here with us today, wouldn't mind sharing what does it even look like from a logistical standpoint? Like what happens when you enter the space?
Yeah, it's Jane here. Dropping in, it's unlike any other one-on-one sessions I've ever had, because within 30 seconds we drop into this sacred space. There's no mucking around. There's a little bit of how are you, but we really just drop right in. And it's been I've only had a few. I'm fairly new to DWI, Devoted Way Initiate. But I've had experiences where I've dropped very, very quickly in within a few minutes of the space. That's my experience.
Hi, it's Jaci. I completely agree. And I think it's a really beautiful way to separate yourself from everything else that's going on, because we can, have so many balls up in the air. And then when you come into a one-on-one, it can be easy to be a bit distracted or thinking about something else. Whereas when you drop into that space, it just allows you to take a moment, for yourself, to be grateful to be there and just come back to yourself. And I think it's such a powerful way to start the one-on-ones, because it really does allow you just that moment to tune in and connect with you and connect with, the sacred space that you're in.
Oh, thank you for that reflection. Devoted Way has a particular feel and a path, right? So it's 7 months with a particular energy that walks with each month. And I feel so called and it being so important that we have our one-on-one sessions in that space. And I'm wondering, even Marlous or Katherine, could you speak to that? Like what unlocks each month within not only the devoted container, but then the one-on-one sessions? Do you notice that there's a particular thing that happens?
wow, what happens? I really feel like, as Jackie was talking about that dropping in, there's a ritual about that I feel like initiates you into the moment, and then throughout the time, something that I have personally experienced is this deep opening of imagination, of play, and of not trying to get it right. I remember early on in one-on-one sessions with you, we would drop in and you would walk me through some things, and my brain would be trying to figure things out. And how do I have this really great answer and vision that's coming through? And because, I want to be put together, and I have become more whole within myself to be able to say nothing is coming through, and we continue to drop in, and there's nothing about that is shamed or bad or anything like that. And I think it's been a beautiful gift to play and actually honor my own energetics in deepening into dropping in and learning what that means for myself, and not holding any judgments over myself in that. And it's been a beautiful thing for me to truly deepen into dropping in and what that looks like. And I definitely have seen that grow during my time in Devoted Way, which is almost coming to an end, which is really sad, but also really beautiful to have this time to reflect back on that. So that's a really beautiful thing that has come through for me.
Yeah. And everything in energetic space has meaning. So for me, when I hear a client say, I'm not getting anything, that in itself is valuable information, right? Or how often have you heard me be like, is that true? Does that feel real? Let's go a little deeper. Are you there yet? And then you typically laugh and you're like, okay, you're right. Let's go a little bit further in. That wasn't it. Right. Marlous, what about you?
Yeah, I love this question, and hearing everyone else speak, everything resonates with me too in working one-on-one with you, Sora. Something that for me has been really true throughout our one-on-one sessions is it's allowed me to really learn more about my own cycle and process of how I do life, but also how I do my business in coaching and my career and everything else. And I feel like when you open the space, as some of the others have said, it really honors that. It creates space for us uncovering and learning that process. And wherever we may be, for me, I've come into some one-on-ones where I really feel today's going to be really stretchy or, I'm on the verge of I don't know if it's a breakdown or breakthrough or both, where I really know I'm on the cusp of something is going to really shift in my life. And I don't know how or what it looks like or so many things can go through. And I feel, so for me, the one-on-one space can be so many things. It's sometimes that little piece of guidance, or I see it as a little piece of guidance that I didn't know I needed, and it just comes at the right time, the right moment. Other days, it's a beautiful blanket of comfort for me where I might feel really tender and I can be so open. And I think, Katherine, you said really can be really raw and be our full selves. And I think for me, what's been really a thread throughout all of our one-on-ones is it requires me to fully surrender into the space too, right? You set the scene, and that has been quite sometimes really challenging, especially at the very start. You're like, oh my God, what is this? And then you come out of a session and you're like, this is the most magical thing I have experienced. And sometimes I use magic as it doesn't even justify what the experience was like. So yeah, I hope I articulated that right. But it can be so many things. And I just feel like it's this incredible support that I never knew I wanted or craved or needed, that I have.
Oh, thank you. And yes, I do hope that we all weave lots of magic, right? That's one of my core beliefs is it's all about magic and miracles. And my hope is that we all experience that during our time together. All right. So I'm sure people are wanting to know the juice, meaning what has actually happened. Are there magical and miracle things that have happened? If we speak about that, people are going to want to know. They're going to be like, is this all just talk? Oh, sure. You feel great afterwards, but then what? So would you all mind sharing a little bit of something that was magical or miracle? And remembering that any experience you have, it's not about the quote patriarchal way of defining success or like the miracle being the biggest, right? Like, I'm the best. No, but the most meaningful, the one that totally hits in your heart, true to you. What kind of magical and miracles have you experienced?
I would say so many. I think in every single one-on-one we've had, there've been.
And Jaci, we even haven't had that many yet.
I know. I'm very new, but it's like, I know that the first couple we had, I knew that there was something that needed to shift, and I didn't know what that was necessarily. One of them being through, like, at the time I was going through a very big transition of selling an apartment and moving and being pregnant and about to launch a new product, and there was something else, and there was just so many things coming at me. And through our one-on-one, just being able to completely let go and surrender to the things that are out of my control and being okay with that, because I'm very good at trying to control things. Even when I'm not trying to control them, I'm trying to control them by what I'm doing. So that was magic in itself. And our most recent one, I came in with, thinking that, like, I don't actually know what I need to talk about. Everything's okay, where this is, I'm in lockdown and this is happening, but like, I'm okay. And then through some questions, I ended up telling you something, and I was like, I don't even know why I'm telling you this. This is so random. Like, as I was saying the words in my head, I'm going, why am I telling her this? And what I realized was that I had a real energetic connection to someone because of my own shadow and some shadow work that I needed to move through. And it was really impacting the way that I was feeling each day without me realizing it. So the magic in that was firstly being able to acknowledge what it was and allow myself that release, because I just blubbered, and we spoke about emotional hangovers, and there was an emotional hangover instantly. But in that is magic to me, because it's about letting go of what doesn't serve us. And I would have got there eventually, but not in the same way. And so that in itself is just magic. And as you said, I don't believe magic has to be these big, grand things, because often it's the small things that mean the most to us and that are the most magical. So it's just those small shifts that you sometimes know that are there, that you support us with, but sometimes we have no idea that they're there. And when you uncover that, it's like, oh, this is just magical. Like, this is amazing. This is what I'm here for. So it's about, for me, those moments of diving deeper, that in a safe way, and creating those shifts.
Whenever I hear a dear member say, I'm not sure why I'm telling you this, I'm always like, score, this is going to be juicy. And yes, it was a beautiful space to have witnessed you find something that was in the periphery, bring it into the forward facing, and then address it, and then poof, witness everything change within your energetic system. It was really beautiful.
I feel like one of the most magical things that I have experienced is, and Marlous touched on it a little bit earlier, is this discovering my own cycles. We even chatted about this in our last call, but something that has been life-changing for me as a projector in human design and someone who has really identified with this slow and steady pace in life, but also like business, or this not wanting to overwhelm and having some real negative viewpoints around, oh, I can't be a busy person, I can't do all the things, and having a lot of narratives around that. And really noticing that in this magical space, in this sacred container, and in the realms that we engage in and see and don't see, that there is so much happening even when I cannot logically see something. And I think that that is something that has really come through for me as being a newer business owner, and my business has very slowly grown. And that was something that I judged for quite a while or tried to hide. And I think there's been something really beautiful in the fact that there's been grace in that, giving me the time to release some of these narratives. And then also, as we talked about yesterday, increasing capacity and seeing how much I have space for in all the areas of my life and not just my business. And really noticing that things can happen really quickly, and that can be really beautiful, and being really intentional about the words that I'm using. That's been another magical spell, I would say, that's been infused in, is noticing the words that I use and don't use and the energy around those words. And instead of saying, oh, this week is busy, this week is full. And that felt really nourishing to me. And finding ways that I can be busy and have a full week and that be exciting and nourishing. And also trusting my schedule, if you will, as we were talking about it, to be what it's going to be, and trust the Great Mother to ebb and flow with me and provide what I need when I need it, and release me from things when that's not what I need. And that has been one of the greatest gifts, particularly as I have released some of those things and really watched my business bloom and grow in ways that I would not have been accepting of if I had not released these narratives. And I think that has been just the greatest gift.
It's so true, right? As for those who are business owners, there's a particular way people tell us that we have to hold our businesses versus the way that we truly, if we are able to be quiet and listen, it blooms. And you were in this affirmation of slow and steady, but when, slow and steady, but when. And then when you finally let go of the when, you came into the space of deep joy, and then boom, it popped and you started to blossom. And it was so gorgeous to see. So yeah, amazing.
Keyword, stardust. Stardust.
One of my magical moments with Sora, it's Jean here, was when I dropped into the energetic space of connecting with my ancestral women. And this was around the process of me externally, physically reclaiming parts of me. And so, and Sora just beautifully dropped me into the word reclaim, and suddenly I was in the space with my ancestral women from all lineages, and they just held me and witnessed me and was circling around me, and realizing for me, taking that into my everyday, that I could drop into that space at any time, and it's not really that hard. But I need to practice. I need how to practice a little bit. But it was pretty easy straight after the session, the days after. And they gave me this incredible amount of wisdom and messages when I had to make particular decisions. They just said, yes, we need role models. So, yes, you're going to do this. My head went, okay, all right. Ah! but I listened to them. So that was really quite magical. That would be a highlight so far in my magical experiences with Sora.
Yes, and it doesn't have to be hard, right? And to me, what you were sharing is you have now met and greeted and remember some of your council members. And I find in our spiritual worlds, many times, we think about our council members are those that we read in our books that we should have. So it's like, we must have an archangel, we must have an ancestor, we must have a goddess. And then we start to try to put them into our council. And to me, that's not the feeling of your way. The feeling of your way is to drop into space, taking time. And at some point, you'll start meeting some people. And for you, it was some of your ancestors, right? And so to me, that is the honoring of creating that spiritual space with your great teachers in the unseen realm. Well done, Jean. Yeah. Marlous, anything else before we close out?
Oh, so many. Two magical moments that stood out for me in our one-on-ones. The first one was when I was in a really toxic work environment, and I knew there was going to be a shift, and I was really frustrated, and I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't know how and when. And obviously with bills to pay and responsibilities and all of the other things, I was really trying to work it out. And I remember coming into this session probably a few months into our coaching or a few weeks into our coaching, and we dropped into the space, and all of a sudden, like, there was this magical number that came up that was 1. And I'm like, what does that mean? And after diving into that with you and, going out of the session, I had realized that day was the day that I wanted to resign. And the number 1 came up because me resigning on that day and then subtracting some of my leave days and all of the things, it was actually the first of the next month or the month after that it was going to be all done and complete. And so that was my divine guidance, and it just was so synchronistically set up that it was truly magic, and it felt so right for me, the energy that I had, and it was really, I felt so ready that day, whereas before I was struggling to find when is going to be, when is it going to happen, or I should just do it now, but then it feels too abrupt. And having that experience was, truly magical for me. The second one is we've been working with each other for a while. I've been coaching with you one-on-one for quite some time, but this one was more recently where I felt. I remember coming into the session and said, I feel like I've lost my mojo. Like, I have this, typical lust for life, and I feel like I've lost it. And I was too much in my head with many things that were going on in my life with, work and my business and life stuff, family stuff, pregnancy. And it didn't feel quite right for me. And I didn't know, it felt like I didn't know what to do to, like, get my mojo back, so to speak. And there were just some really simple shifts that you made available to me in that session that sort of allowed me to come back home to myself and step back into my power, and also made that so easeful and simple and flowing in a way that felt really right, because it felt like, I need to snap out of it, but it's, like I'm banging my head against a wall. And I think with that gentle guidance, it was, it allowed me to come back home to myself. And now I'm back into the space of, abundance is right here, available to me anytime I want it. It's a choice, it's a mindset, and I can have that in my life. And that's what it feels like right now. So thank you so much.
I loved witnessing you when you were feeling a bit flat. And then after that, and your discovery and your commitment, your devotion to yourself, all of a sudden you started to draw, and there was the synchronistic things that would happen. And you started to feel you were in such delight with life, like such delight. And your creations now are so deliciously true from your soul rather than from your mind. And so that's been such an honor to witness. Thank you all for sharing a little bit about what it looks like and feels like inside of a one-on-one energy space inside of DWI. I really appreciate your time. And for the rest of you viewers that are listening, my deepest prayer for you is that you experience magical and miracles in your life every day, whether that is through this community or not, that is something that touches you every single day, because we are present and we are magic. And all we have to do is open up to that frequency. Thank you so much.
It is a blessing to serve you. My deepest desire is to bring nourishment to your soul, activate and enliven your inner landscape, and find inspiration through the sacred stories of others, so we remember we are collectively woven. If you're currently playing with us in our devoted Discord, remember to submit the keyword and complete the other moves to earn points and win amazing prizes. If you're not playing yet, visit devotedway.com/star, STAR, to sign up. If you would like to listen to more Devoted Way podcast episodes, watch Devoted TV, or read about mysticism, spiritual devotion, magic and intuition, or creating a prosperous new world, I invite you to enter our virtual temple home at devotedway.com. As I continue to serve, may I humbly ask for a sacred exchange. I would so appreciate it if you would write a love note, otherwise known as a review. Share the episode with your friends and community members, and engage with me on Instagram. Stay sacred and discover your path and join the Devoted Way. May magic and miracles occur in your life every day as you co-create a prosperous new world with the Great Mother. Until next time, this is Sora Schilling.